the ceremony of marriage, that matrimony is a form of cultural activism. In a world with nuclear families, division, disconnection, is this a solution? Returning to the ritual.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word return, first of all.
Okay.
And here's the reason why. Most of us don't have a living ritual tradition to return to.
Correct.
Okay. That's a fantasy.
That's true.
And fantasies aren't that useful in the circumstance we're talking about here now. So you might say instead that rather than beginning with having, opening door number 2, and there's the whole thing just waiting for you, and isn't that great? Rather than fantasizing that way, let's imagine that an absolutely legitimate beginning in a time like our own is the willingness to begin with the poverty, not with the success. If you begin with the poverty, then the reality of the times that you're born to do not become estranged as a consequence of you trying to undertake the work of a better day. Right? The poverty is not your enemy. It's your adversary. And the difference between the two is enemy basically is somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. Somebody's vanquished and somebody's victorious. But in a circumstance of adversity, spiritually speaking, the adversary is there to craft a more capable you beyond anything you'd be able to will for yourself, right? This is the great Rilke observation that human beings are not here to succeed, but to be defeated by greater and greater things. So the poverty that I'm talking about is the it's the debris field of culture that is our largely, not exclusively, but largely our inheritance. The crash and burn that's already occurred. Okay. So it's not a question of averting any of that. It's not a question of going to the altar to craft some sanity in the midst of that. It's not really. No. I mean, I've done this, what I'm describing to you now. I've undertaken these ceremonies more than a handful of times. So I'm not bullshitting you up here. Okay. I'm telling you the truth as it occurred. Of course, the instinct is to try to people the circumstance until it feels full and ample, doesn't it? It's very understandable. So I'm going to tell you a vignette that comes from the front line. And this will tell you a lot. So the couple were in their early 30s, urban hipsters. They came to me, asked me to do their wedding. I won't go through the preliminaries, but I'll just say, I said to them, great. Here's what we do first. You gather together your, what they call wedding party. Okay. You just get your posse together. I don't care how many it is. I mean, the more, the better for reasons that will become apparent soon enough. But you just gather them all. Tell them whatever you want to tell them by way of why. But I'll come there and I'll tell them what we're up to and a little bit about what we're up against. And then they will be invited to participate deeply. Okay? So you don't have to describe what it is because you don't know yourselves. I do. So they said, great. Okay, so the day comes. I show up at the appointed hour. I walk through the door. I can feel the disappointment in the room. Oh yeah, for sure, man. Listen, in case you don't know this about white folks, I'm going to tell you something right now. Here's how it goes down. When there's the promise in the air of something funky and like genuinely alternative and whatever else you want to describe it as, people are looking at the door for something to walk in through the door that doesn't look like them. I walk through the door looking like this. You can't get whiter than me. Okay? So the white folks in the room are like, oh shit, like, really? One of us?
Where are the feathers? Where's the decoration?
Anything. Anyway, So, but it's not the first time, so I wasn't surprised. So anyway, this is a long story, but the short version is I launched into it, stopped. I hit the brakes at 10 minutes, 15 at the most. And I looked up and I said, now, you may not believe what I'm about to tell you, but you've heard enough to make your decision on whether or not you're with us. Okay? If I told you any more, it wouldn't be fair and it wouldn't be right, because some of you will leave no matter what you say today. And that would just make it harder and more to regret and the rest. And nobody needs that experience in life, right? Not right now, not ever. So take your own counsel for, 20 seconds. You don't need any more than that. Intuitively, you already know what you're about to do. You already know how you're going to vote. There's the door. For those of you who decided against proceeding with us, go with our blessing and wish us well, if you would, on the way out. And those of you who are staying are in for the long haul. Go. Within 20 seconds, a third of that room that was full of their friends, their business acquaintances, their tried, tested, and true buddies, gone. A third.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
So the door closes behind the last one, right? Everybody who's sitting there is thinking, what? Fuck, what did I not understand that they clearly understood? And why am I still sitting here? And this doesn't make any sense at all. And holy shit. And clearly they understood something that I didn't get, and so forth. And somebody who's well-intentioned gets up and starts rearranging the seating so that the empty chairs vanish. I said, whoa. Please sit down. Everybody take a breath now. Here's what I want you to do. Leave those chairs right where they are. Feel the emptiness and the goneness. Feel yourself having been turned away from. In the name of what? What were you asking through me? You were asking for a kind of companionship, weren't you? I know you were. And now you see what kind of companionship tends to be available in a ceremonially adrift time. Okay, now we know. And we'll count the empty chairs once, and we won't do it again. From here on out, we count the full chairs, but we don't ignore for a second that goneness, that emptiness, that poverty. And here's why. Because if in a year from now, we make it and we get there and we're on the day of, finally, all of this poverty, all of this goneness, all of this judgment and turning away from will be there again. Even if those people won't be there, but it will manifest. I promise you that. We begin today with what we don't have, don't know, don't understand, and don't feel. You will discover it's not nothing. It's the presence of the absence of something instead. And P.S., I'm not going to blink on you. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. As of today, take it or leave it, I'm yours. But I'm going to hold you to it now for what you asked me to do for you. And here's how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be in your corner. No. Your corner is a changeable, shifting goalpost of a thing. I'm not going to promise to stay there no matter what. I'm not going to prove everything you say and do. I'm not your daddy. Here's what I am instead. I'm matrimony's spirit lawyer. Okay. It's matrimony's corner that I will be in. And I'm going to see to it that whatever capacity I have is going to midwife matrimony into our midst in the time to come. That's what I'm saying yes to. And that's what you can count on. And more or less, man, that's what I did. And the book describes what it looks like when you try to do it in a time when nobody goes to a wedding to change the world. But I did.